addressing and further debunking Gnosticism 2015. Since making the original video a few years ago, I have received responses according to which I do not understand what Gnosticism is, not to mention that I did not debunk it, and also that what I was debunking, if anything, was the exoteric aspect of Gnosticism. I have responded by confirming that of course I was debunking the exoteric story, as for one, the intangibles of the esoteric aspects of the system are not of such substance that debunking them would have any meaning, and also, the Gnostic texts and exoteric teachings besmirch the Creator in whom many now believe as an actual being, and in whom people did believe as an extant transcendent entity back when Gnosticism came into existence, and that fact evinces that the text was not held out to persons of all levels of initiation. As a purely allegorical, coded document, and in fact, modern-day Gnostics, such as those responsible for the Armageddon Conspiracy website, which group refers to themselves as the Illuminati, actually encourage the perception of there being an actual sentient false God creator. Over the few years, since I made the original video, I have admittedly learned some very important things about Gnosticism, which clarify how it is that it fits into the agenda of the Sons of Cain, a term I apply more broadly than do those who propagate the conflict between the Church and the secret societies, which conflict is seemingly almost certainly non-existent. However, that issue is not what I intend to address in great depth in this video. What I want to call to the viewer's attention is the core reality of Gnosticism, which is vastly different from the dainty, romanticized, gauzy, flowery characters and visions of the grandeur of their hierarchical structure and all the other fanciful imagery, which comprises the literal aspect of their texts, epitomizing perceptions of heaven, which an earthbound being might imagine. The reality, it turns out, includes what I have long suspected, and is otherwise even more meager, more base and cruder than I could ever have imagined. It has been confirmed in the practices and stated beliefs of persons such as Carol Poke Runyon that Gnosticism is in fact a rehashing of the old pagan fertility religions in a form which is far more blatantly derivative than even Orthodox Christianity. The fact that Runyon states that he and his fellow practitioners do not worship any deity, but for the sake of personal gain clarifies their Luciferian position to any who might have been in the least bit of doubt on the matter, while also making it clear that the supposed pleroma or monad is in no way a transcendent deity, which actually exists in opposition to the Creator, but is in reality only a matter of what is in my view an incredibly abhorrent, convoluted, low-minded practice, specifically that of exalting the mundane workings of the mind and of nature to the position of utmost supremacy, above all conceptions of the Creator which exist among mankind, and actually relishing such a seemingly lunatic, anomalous perspective. I have addressed elsewhere the obvious connection between Gnostic thought, as the ancient texts from the Nag Hammadi library convey it, and the progressivism, which is so utterly rampant today, having been externalized and somehow made to seem like a religious obligation to multitudes of irreligious, unthinking sheep. This has occurred, with the progress constantly moving forward, despite the horrible detriment which the progressive agenda has wrought for mankind since its very inception, as I have mentioned elsewhere, and as can be confirmed by the viewer by way of a few internet searches on subjects such as the origin in human civilization of cancer, human beings not having been equipped to deal with the changes in diet, which resulted from the agricultural revolution, including articles on the disorders, which can actually be linked directly to the Neolithic period. Ironically, what I have learned in the years since the first video has actually served to debunk Gnosticism, as information, which I presented earlier in the video confirms the origin of Gnosticism and paganism, and therefore refutes the claims of Gnostics as to the origin of Gnosticism, including the claim that it is the true form of Christianity. Given that the divinities of Gnosticism, including its true God, are admittedly non-existent everywhere other than the imaginations of the practitioners, there is no disputing that the claims of the Gnostics, as to the Gnostic Gospels being legitimate accounts of the earthly encounters of human beings with Jesus, are fraudulent, and therefore, Gnosticism is debunked in that respect as well. In addition to all of this, Though Gnosticism arose long after the time of Epicurus, it did originate from a point in the history of man, at which one would seemingly had to have suffered from either insanity or mental retardation in order not to believe in God or gods, who actually exist without the human being, as the ability to reflect, and to affect things would undoubtedly have caused man to reason, that he possessed intelligence and ability, and therefore, he himself must have originated from one of tremendously greater intelligence and ability.